Hey, Brother Josh here, coming to you from Calvary's Cry YouTube channel, and we're doing something a little bit different today. We're going to be talking on the subject of homeschooling, and it's not going to be me teaching or preaching. It's going to be my beautiful wife giving you some tips, some hints, some instruction on homeschooling. During this COVID-19 crisis, there's a lot of people who are opting to homeschool, and we're just going to give you some advice. We're going to give you some information that you need to know if you decide to do these things, because we've been homeschooling our child for the past 2 years, and we love it. We think it's a great idea. And just let me tell you a little bit about Bridget. That's my wife, and so that you can understand a little more of our background. You know, you're not just getting somebody's opinion about homeschool, you're getting an educated opinion about homeschool. She's got a bachelor's degree in early childhood education. She's got a master's degree in special education. She's been teaching school for 9 years. And like I said, for the past 2 years, we've been homeschooling our child, and we love it. And so here she is. She's going to bring you some teaching that will help you. So stay tuned and listen.
Hello, you can probably tell by the title of this video that I'm going to be talking about homeschooling. Now, first, I want to clear up any confusion between homeschool and your school's response to the coronavirus pandemic. If your school district has offered a virtual learning situation or a blended learning model, this is different than homeschooling. The school district that will be offering that will let you stay at home with your child while they participate in an online public school format. Now, it's different from homeschool. I mean, it is in fact at home, but it's different from homeschool because the curriculum is not chosen by you, and it is all still implemented by the public school district. So while it takes place at home, it's not technically homeschool since it's operated by the public school. Homeschooling requires you to do a little more. And if you choose homeschool, you are solely responsible for the curriculum selection and implementation for your child. Now, this video is going to focus on homeschooling. I'm not really going to talk about blended learning or virtual learning. So, if you choose to homeschool, you will need to research the requirements that your state has put forth, and each state is different. Now, in the state that I am in, all you have to do is file an intent to homeschool form each year, and that's what you do. So your state may be different. Your state may require a little more or the same as. Now, let's begin and address why you would homeschool. Number one, I have 5 reasons why. And number one would be that you're able to provide your child with one-on-one attention and instruction. In public school, your child will be one of 20 or more, and if your child's lucky, they may be one of 15. But usually there are at least 20 children in each classroom. And so if your child falls behind on anything, it may not be caught as quickly as if you were one-on-one. And when you're one-on-one, you're able to see just exactly what your child needs and where they may be falling behind. And you're able to correct that then, not wait until it's finally recognized by someone in the public school system, and then they try to correct that. So this really can happen if you're the teacher, because you are there, you're giving the instruction, you see what your child does day by day. All right? And you don't have to move on until your child can grasp the concept. Now, number 2, you're able to choose what your child learns. You're not able to do that with public school I mean, you can give suggestions, but they may or may not do those things. But you can do that in public school. Is your child fascinated with history? Well, you can add more of that content into their learning. You can add more content in the direction of their interests. So that's a second reason why you would want to homeschool. Also, you're able to go at your own pace. Now, this may go along with number one, but I think it's important enough to think about that on your own. Well, let's say you have a child who is advanced or highly skilled in an area. Say he's a first grade student and he has already gone through all of the first grade math curriculum and is very good at it. So why should he have to stay learning first grade curriculum when he already knows it? In homeschool, you can move on. You can move on to second grade curriculum in math. And on the other side, if your child is falling behind in reading, if your child maybe needs to go at a slower pace, you can do that. You can spend more time on certain parts of the curriculum. Usually in public school, if your child is not reading in public school by fourth grade, then they're not going to be taught that skill anymore. I know for sure, teaching in the junior high, I don't teach children how to read in the 7th and 8th grade. I assume that they already know how. So that is one thing, you are able to make sure that your child is reading and you're able to focus more time on that. So you're able to move quickly through some parts of the curriculum. You're able to slow down on others. So you can choose what your child learns. You get one-on-one education. And number 4, you're able to further instill your values into your child. Now, this isn't the public school's job to do this, but there are things being instilled into your child at public school. And you, being the teacher for homeschool, can decide what type of values your child learns. As for me, in my case, I'm able to work Christian values and Christian lessons into my curriculum where he wouldn't be able to get that in the public school system. And lastly, number 5, you get to spend time with your child. Now, you may think, well, I already do spend a lot of time with my child, but school takes up a lot of time, and homework takes up even more time, and even after school activities that your child may be in takes up even more time. So, you get to spend that time being your child's teacher. And these are things that you and your child are going to remember throughout their entire life. The time spent teaching with your child is never wasted time. And with homeschool, I will say this, that the homeschool day does not end with seat work. That is a part of it, that is an aspect of it, but the homeschool day continues even if you're not formally doing homeschool. If you're in the kitchen and you're baking a cake, you can be teaching your child. If you're out working on the lawnmower, you can be teaching your child. So homeschool does not end with reading, writing, and math and the other subjects. So it's a time that you and your child are going to be able to look back on, hopefully with mostly fond memories, because I know for sure that not every day in homeschool teaching is an exciting, fun day. There are some frustrating times when they don't want to work and they have to work, but they're giving you a hard time. Well, that's something you're just going to have to deal with and you're going to have to work through. So those are just a few reasons why you should homeschool. Homeschooling will take time and effort, but you can do it. Now, we talked about why you would homeschool. Now, let's see who can homeschool. And the short answer would be anyone. Anyone can homeschool. The only prerequisite I would think would be, can you read? If you can read, you can homeschool. It doesn't matter what level of education you have. I mean, I have a master's degree in special education. But that doesn't make me any better of a homeschool teacher than someone who has a high school diploma or not even a high school diploma. If you can read, if you can implement instruction, you can be a homeschool teacher. Now, you may be saying, well, I'm not very smart, and, I didn't graduate high school, or I didn't do well in high school. I don't know things. Well, there are resources out there for you, and I will do a whole separate video on the resources that are available to a parent who is a homeschooler. Now, you're watching me on YouTube right now. There are tons of educational videos on YouTube put there by real teachers. I know for sure that there are some really good math teachers on YouTube. If you're like a lot of people and you say, I can't do math, I'm scared to teach my child math, there are lots of teachers online on YouTube for free that you can watch, and you can learn how to do that math. You can watch it on your own, learn how to do it, and then teach your child, or you and your child can watch it together and learn together and further bond together that way. Now, I know even with a master's degree, there are things that I need to look up and be sure on. And as you grow in homeschooling, you'll get into a groove and you'll understand what your child needs and places you can go to help them out. And I will go over resources in another video. Now, I think it all comes down to what you are willing to do. Are you willing to put in the time? Are you willing to put in the effort? Are you willing to possibly lose an income to be able to do this? Because those are things you need to think about. Now, while it is still, you still are able to do this if you work a job, but you'll have to work out how you're going to do that. Now, it is a life change. It changes the whole pace and direction of your life. You do have to spend time in preparing and planning. You can't just open a book in front of your child and say, hey, here we go, we're going to start learning. Now, you need to have gone over that before you go and teach your child. So, sum it up. What are the things that you need to know? Number one, you need to know what your state requires. You need to find that out, and you need to make sure that you do those things. The state that I'm in requires that I file an intent to homeschool form each year, and that's what the requirements are. I know there are other states that require other things, so be sure you do those things. Now, if your state is like mine and you are required to submit that form and that's all they require of you, I would tell you to take a few more steps. All right? Now, number one, you need to make sure you keep attendance. Now, as a school teacher, I know all about attendance. I do that every day, every class period. You need to keep attendance of every day that you have homeschool in session. All right? You also need to keep a record of what you did that day. So if you have a kindergartner and you went over the letter L and you went over the sounds that letter L makes and you went over the numbers 1 through 10 and whatever else, you write down everything you did and keep it in a book. Also, if you buy a curriculum that has workbooks with that, you keep those workbooks. After your child has finished that workbook, don't throw it away, keep it. Now, I'm not telling you to keep every single scrap of paper that your child writes or draws on, and that would be way too much. You need to keep the most important things, and you need to put them somewhere safe. Now, why would you need to do that? Well, just in case someone says, so-and-so has not been doing homeschool with their child, they've just been letting them sit at home and do nothing. Well, you'll have proof. Here is our work samples. Here's our attendance. This is the curriculum we've been doing, and we've been implementing this. So you need to have that. All right, next, you need to arrange your curriculum. Now, this can be purchased. You can purchase curriculum. There are lots of what do you call manufacturers, I guess, of curriculum. Lots of people put those out. Um, I will go over some of the ones that I think are great, but there are a lot out there that I've probably never heard of. So you need to decide on your curriculum. Okay? Next, you're going to have to devote time for planning and implementing your curriculum. Now, planning may take you an hour or so each night, or it's as you get better at it, it will go quicker. And especially on your second child, who you've already taught first grade 2 years ago, well, you definitely have it all together for that second child who's going through first grade now. So it can get easier, especially when you have multiple children. Now, if you have older children, let's say high school aged children who are doing homeschool, they can help you with those younger children if you need them to do some things. And that's a really good family time as well. All right. Now, if you have any questions, or just feel free to ask those. Write them in the comment section. I will answer them. I'll give you the best answer that I can give you. And be on the lookout for a curriculum and resources video to come out pretty soon. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it helps you out. And just thank you for watching.